Shut up. I just wanted to say hi to them.
Shut up. Face the wall. Turn around. Turn around. No sudden movement, sir. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Yeah.
And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And just guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that I was in.
But this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
Joe Rogan has spoken out about the rumors surrounding Jake Paul's alleged arrest for scripting boxing fights. His message is clear. No amount of fame or fortune is worth risking your life. Rogan's warning hits hard. The dangers inside that ring are very real, and they should never be taken lightly. He's urging Paul to think twice before stepping back into the ring, because when you're chasing glory through dangerous fights, you're playing with fire. And Jake Paul? Well, he's been at the center of quite a storm lately.
Jake Paul, you have probably seen some of the controversy he's been taking.
Rogan didn't hold back. He made it crystal clear that boxing is a dangerous game, and fighting recklessly could cost you everything. But there's more. He also warned that if you're involved in anything illegal or scripted, you're opening yourself up to serious legal trouble. The consequences could be devastating.
Life is ruined because then you can't think, you can't do things, you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life. It's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think. And I knew that I was putting that in.
Nikisa Badarian has come forward to set the record straight. He's adamant that Jake Paul and his team did absolutely nothing wrong. There was no attempt to rig the fight. The internet exploded with claims that the Anthony Joshua bout was scripted, but Nikisa is calling that nonsense. One viral post even claimed there was a secret deal for Joshua not to knock Paul out. But here's what really happened. Joshua fought with everything he had, completely ignoring any supposed agreement. Nikisa wants everyone to know that Jake trained hard, put himself at real risk, and fought a legitimate fight. And they're not just letting this slide. Lawyers are now going after people spreading these false stories. For Nikisa, this isn't just about defending Jake's reputation. It's about making sure the world knows the truth. This fight was real, it was unscripted, and any talk of a fix is completely baseless.
I've seen the script, rig, this, that, and the other. Do you think now, at the very least, that talk goes away? Broke his jaw, went in there against Anthony Joshua. At the very least, do you think that you guys can move on from that? Like, that won't follow you?
No, I don't. I actually... our lawyers are actively going after a number of people. One who claims to be a lawyer himself online. I don't remember the name or the handle, but it was something that had like 200,000 likes. And basically this post said there was an agreement for AJ not to knock out Jake, but AJ disregarded the agreement and decided to not get his payday, but knock out Jake Paul. So it's pretty astonishing what people say. Your dear friend Lou DiBella, saw him put up a bunch of ridiculous things and even said, Nikisa, go ahead and sue me. But this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
And so for the people, again, just to clear this up, because I asked Eddie this question, I'll ask you the exact same question. Once and for all, was there any sort of arrangement as far as it should go this many rounds? Because that's the one that I've heard. Oh, Anthony agreed to 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Can you tell us in black and white if there were any talks of any kind between the network, the promotion, the fighter?
There has never once in Jake Paul's career been any talk of that sort, of anything to do with the fight being anything but a real fight that has exactly the same situation as any professional fight. And that's exactly the same thing here for the Anthony Joshua fight. It's just beyond mind-blowing that people would think that. Anthony Joshua was on record saying that if he didn't finish him in the first round, that would be disappointing, that it would be a failure. The narrative changed as we got closer to fight night and obviously post-fight, and I understand why, but they were pretty adamant it would take max 2 rounds.
Joe Rogan has issued another stark warning to Jake Paul. Don't do this again. He's pleading with him to think carefully before taking on any more high-risk boxing matches. His point is simple but powerful. No career achievement is worth your life. The dangers lurking in that ring aren't just talking points. They're real, they're immediate, and they can change your life forever. Whether it's stage fights or genuinely dangerous matchups, pursuing them for fame or money could lead to consequences you can't undo. At the end of the day, safety has to come first.
Because here's the thing. Look at all them celebrities like dude from the Mighty Ducks, the little boy actor that got strung out on drugs. And all his fronts and all his teeth were missing from being on meth or whatever, you know what I mean, whatever drug of choice he was on. There's no coming back from that. The people who, like, dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get, like, a second set. So if I'm not mistaken, the dude from Mighty Ducks, somebody, like, he's been clean, and they gave him a makeover, and he has, like, pretty much fake teeth. So, yeah, the teeth are going to be cooked. Now, I agree with the other part that Rogan was saying, but let's keep going.
I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah, and I've already expressed my thoughts on this. I'm not giving no props for a person who says I am a real deal boxer because I went in and get smashed and got my jaw broken, but I lasted longer than Ngannou. But I was crazy enough to try. Because, to be honest, we're way past the honeymoon stage with a person like Jake Paul. You've been in this for long enough to go through fight camps, dedicate your time, effort, energy, money, spar with people. You spar with some quality names because you have resources and money or whatever. So we're well past that to the point where you just get credit for stepping in. You maybe got credit your first fight or whatever, first couple of fights, for coming from your background and, you know, stepping in and fighting, but we're well past that. You have a box rec. You were being ranked by sanctioning bodies in boxing.
Eddie Hearn broke down the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight with fascinating insight. He revealed that every move in that ring was carefully calculated. Joshua's team wasn't rushing in with wild punches. They were patient, controlled, and deliberate. Their strategy? Systematically break Jake Paul down, expose his weaknesses, test his endurance, and then strike when the moment was right. This is what professional boxing looks like at the highest level. It's not about brute force. It's about discipline, perfect timing, and tactical brilliance. Every phase of the fight was designed to maintain control while slowly tightening the noose. And that's exactly what happened. According to Hearn, this methodical approach didn't just win the fight. It showcased boxing as an art form. It's a chess match where calculated decisions and measured execution separate the champions from everyone else.
Break him down. He said before the fight, I'm going to break him down and then I'm going to knock him out. And that's exactly what he did. I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds. But, you know, when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just, you know, anywhere, arms. I got in, he went, what are you rushing me for? And I was like, oh, sorry. So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing, and actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random, I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mum said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She is promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, you know. But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, you know. And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round. Yeah. So, no, I'll give Jake respect. And, yeah. Sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me, but if she can send me a free book.
Adam Catterall didn't pull any punches in his assessment of the fight. He called out a major problem in modern boxing. When popularity trumps skill, we all lose. Jake Paul's meteoric rise in the sport? Catterall says it has far more to do with his massive social media following than any real technical ability. Here's the thing. Even though Anthony Joshua was clearly holding back, his control, timing, and precision were on full display. The punches he did land, they caused serious damage and exposed just how wide the gap is between these two fighters. But that's where things get interesting. This massive skill difference sparked some serious questions about what was really going on. Rumors started swirling that Jake Paul may have tried to control or manipulate how the fight played out, minimizing his risk while keeping up appearances. Catterall's take cuts to the heart of a bigger issue. Celebrity boxing is putting spectacle over substance. When the focus shifts from skill and strategy to entertainment and ticket sales, the traditional values that define professional boxing
For
start to
my
crumble.
own credibility, I've got to knock you out, but I've got to try and knock you out where I'm not hurting you as much as what I could if I unleashed.
Yeah.
And with the punch you said that he landed, it's not his best punch,
It's
his
an arm
most
punch,
powerful
mate.
punch,
It's an
right?
arm punch.
Yep. And he's shattered his jaw in 2 places, right? So Anthony Joshua gets his 70 million, whatever it is. But I think he's sitting there thinking, thank God for that. Thank God. On a human level, I've come out, all right, I've sort of, not reputation, but I haven't hurt him as bad as
Mate,
what I could have.
There should be an awful amount of people breathing a massive sigh of relief. Anybody that put that fight together, athletic commissions, like you
Well,
said.
it wasn't a fight.
No,
was
it wasn't at all. Like you said, it was a prize
Yes.
fight. It was an event. If Anthony damages him, he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of stress to deal with. You know what I mean? So I'm sure he's bleeding in the side of relief. The team that have put him in there, that have negotiated that for him, but the authorities that put that on and commissioned it as a proper boxing match, I've no doubt.
Does that go on his... Because
yeah, it's a professional boxing
do you know what? If I was Anthony Joshua, I would be saying, I don't want that on my record.
Well,
but for the credibility of them putting the fight on, they would have said to him, no, we've got to say this. It's been commissioned. It's going to be a proper fight. And I found it, I love my boxing, but I just find the whole thing really, really unedifying. You said about get followers. You mentioned Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is nowhere near his level of getting like a British title fight or whatever. Nowhere near. So it's basically he's like...
Beat Jake Paul.
Well, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, beat Jake Paul. But see,
but what I'm saying is that that's 100. I stand by that, and I think Tommy would admit that. You know what I mean? To become a British champion is a very prestigious thing to do. And I think
Sam Jones gave us an honest, no-holds-barred reaction to the fight. And his verdict? It was tough to watch. Not because it was brutal, but because of what was missing. Jake Paul struggled with the basics. Defense, footwork, responding to combinations. These fundamental problems created a lopsided contest that highlighted the enormous gap in skill and experience. But here's where it gets controversial. Some observers couldn't shake the feeling that certain moments look almost choreographed, as if the action was being carefully managed to keep both fighters safe. Sure, Jake Paul put in serious training time, but Jones suggests a talent mismatch, combined with what looked like scripted pacing, created an uncomfortable viewing experience for anyone expecting genuine competition. The fight exposed a harsh reality. When you mix celebrity appeal with professional-level boxing, spectacle can overshadow authenticity. And it leaves fans wondering, where's the line between performance and real sport?
To Anthony Joshua knocking out and breaking Jake Paul's jaw. Just talk to me right now about the fight itself, and then we'll break it down.
Bit of a crap fight, if we're all honest. It was like watching Jaws 2 when all the kids went out on their boats and they were in the middle of the sea and the shark was just surrounding the boat, just like that's what it was like. It was just like a shark circling its prey and just like it was like nibbling and eventually got him. But Jake Paul showed big plums in there, no matter what anybody says about him, because I've seen people say, yeah, he went in there to survive. Yeah, okay, he went in there to survive. He's a guy that's been boxing a couple of years against a unified champion of the world who can really punch. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best fight. It just wasn't the best thing to watch, was it? Like it was just, it weren't great. I just want to see now Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. I think at the stages of their careers they're at, AJ and Tyson Fury, we don't need to see interim fights, Andrew. We don't need to see interim fights because they're just potential banana skins. We want to see two of the best heavyweights of this era going at it. And
Luke Thomas emerged as one of the loudest critics after the fight. He's challenging everyone who's praising Jake Paul for stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua. His argument? Just showing up shouldn't be celebrated without asking the hard questions. Thomas believes the spectacle surrounding the match distracted everyone from the real dangers at play. And those pre-fight comments from Paul, combined with some questionable behavior in the ring, they're lining up a little too well with rumors that he tried to script parts of the fight. Thomas is sounding the alarm. If we celebrate fights like this, we're setting a dangerous precedent. We're blurring the line between entertainment and real competition. And that's a road we shouldn't go down.
Him surviving kind of feeds into the story of him being perhaps a little bit better than we sometimes think, although I don't really co-sign on that. Let me make the point. The first point is, I think people are overreacting a little bit. A little bit. People were suggesting when I got on social media that this was like the biggest farce they'd ever seen in their life, and that this was, how could he fight like this, and this was a disaster, and Joshua should have got him out there earlier. There is probably some evidence to suggest that I don't think Joshua was carrying him in the sense of, hey, they coordinated this ahead of time. But was Joshua really stepping on the gas? No, I don't think he was really stepping on the gas. There were times I think he clearly pulled his punches, partly because Jake was squirmy and rotating on the outside. Also in part because I think, as I indicated on Friday, he's watching this guy with pretty bad footwork. He was literally tripping over himself. And he realized he just can't keep this up. So, okay, so there was that. But people were acting like, like, how could this be? How could this have happened? Guys, on Friday's MK, and then before that, earlier in the week on Submission Radio, they asked me on Submission Radio, how do you think he's going to fight? And I'm like, he's going to run. And they're like, you don't think he's going to clinch? I'm like, okay, he'll clinch at times, but then the rest of the time, he's going to run. Like, what other way was this going to go? What other way was this ever
Chael
going
Sonnen had strong words about this matchup. His take? Fights like this are way too risky to be happening at all. He described it as less of a boxing match and more of a survival situation, where both physical safety and reputation were hanging by a thread. When inexperienced fighters step into the ring with elite professionals, they're putting their lives on the line. And when you add in the rumored scripting by Jake Paul alongside these dangerous matchups, the problem gets even worse. Sonnen's warning is clear. When we blend celebrity culture with professional sport, we're not just risking the integrity of boxing, we're endangering real people. Analysts picked up on something interesting, too. Jake Paul fought unusually cautiously at times, which raised eyebrows. Was it smart strategy? Maybe. Or was it something else? Some speculated that certain moments looked choreographed, allowing Joshua to control the fight without extreme risk. And that lines up perfectly with the rumors that Paul tried to influence the pacing and sequences to protect himself while maximizing the entertainment value. The question is, where do we draw the line?
These guys fought. That was not a boxing match. It just wasn't. Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there, and he was moving as such. He was staying away from him. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this athletic competition, and then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. I mean, he was fighting. Then it turns to where he can't stay away anymore. So now he's got to go the other way. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting to double leg positions. He was fighting. These guys were Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So on the back end, some of the comments that I made or that I had heard were so confusing to me. It was a very good competition. I will tell you, it breaks my heart, too, that Anthony Joshua can't get him out of there in one round. Dave Portnoy had made a comment before the fight. He said, I like Jake. I wish well for Jake. Of course I'm taking Joshua. And then Portnoy made his point. And he said, because I believe in boxing. This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua's more experienced or better. I believe in boxing. I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion.